Roy Burstin. I'm CEO of Enophone, and I'm super happy to be here. I'm a total newbie in the neurotech space and also in this conference. So thank you very much, Jim, for the opportunity to be here with you guys. I've learned a ton over the last couple of days. And I've realized a couple of things just to set the context of what Enophone is to point out a couple of ways in which we're very different than a lot of the things that we've seen here today, because number one, we don't come from the neuroscience world. Our core team is a product consumer software development team. So we're very good at UX, UI, software development, and all the downstream activities like marketing, community management, etc. So that's one of our core competences. The other one is in music and music composition and music software. Those are the skills that we're bringing into the field of neurotech. And the other way in which we are quite, okay, we'll just give it a little lag. Rather than approaching or trying to restore lost brain function, like we see a lot of companies in which are completely amazing, we're coming at this from the other opposite spectrum, which is really focused on maintenance and really focusing on the idea of mental fitness. And we like to draw an analogy, just like you go to the gym to keep your body physically fit. We feel that there should be a protocol, a list of things that you can do to proactively preserve your brain function, your cognitive performance, and also even maybe hopefully optimize it. And why do we think this is relevant? We just went through an election. It seems like stress levels are higher than ever. Our attention is getting fragmented from all the doom scrolling. And so we've seen unprecedented levels of stress, anxiety, sleeplessness, etc. And when it comes to solutions, and I'm sure a lot of you have tried, like me, to establish a meditation practice, sustaining a meditation practice or yoga, exercise. These are the common things that people recommend to you for better mental fitness. All of them present certain types of challenges. So what we want to do is rush into this void and build tools that are based on biometrics that could create certain types of experiences that help people shift their minds. And that's what leads us to our first product, which is the Enophones. Our goal is to use this as a platform that creates audio and visual experiences that will help people achieve certain mind states by shifting their brain activity. And basically, so what this is a fairly straightforward hardware. We have pretty high quality noise cancellation and high fidelity audio. And this product has 4 embedded EEG sensors. Just putting them on really puts you into your own personal bubble. And we're using audio to drive some stimulation. So for that, we are, and everybody who's in this space, consumer neurotech space, we found that there's a huge tension between the form factor and the placement and density of the channels that you can have. And so clearly, Enophone is very much tipping the balance in favor of form factor. And our challenge is going to be how to maximize the quality of the data that we can derive from the 4 sensors that we have. And when it comes to the neuroscience aspect of this, in reality, we're just borrowing concepts that are proven. We're not blazing any new trails here. We're just using EEG technology to monitor your brainwave activity. We're using established brainwave analysis techniques to try to identify your cognitive state at a certain time. And then by applying modulation, we try to influence the brain to generate more of a certain type of frequency to achieve that mind state, whether it's focus, relaxation, winding down, etc. In our case, we're using audio modulation. There's a lot of other products that also use photo stimulus. And this is what makes the product unique, is really bringing all these pieces together into a single product. So we have the EEG, we have the real-time data processing, the audio modulation. I'll talk about it a little more in a minute. And so our goal is to really be analyzing in real time what's going on with your brain activity, and then try to help you achieve the target mind state. Yeah, so sorry for the dancing around here. Oh. There. So while we're not currently pursuing an FDA type route, there are a lot of companies, not a lot, but there's a handful of companies that are using the concept of medicine, music as medicine, to pursue FDA-approved solutions, very much focused on cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, that sort of loss of brain function. And so what's interesting is that we obviously follow these companies very closely, and we're on the other side, on the consumer side of it, and we're using the same kind of mechanism of action. We use music compositions, and in which in and of themselves, they help shift mind, so calming music or music that gets you excited, etc. But the key is that the music is really a delivery mechanism. We are inserting binaural beats and different types of auditory stimuli, isochronic tones, ASMR sounds, different types of stimuli that we're experimenting with. And these are not audible because a lot of the, I mean, if you've ever experienced different types of color noises, they're sometimes not pleasant to listen to. So these are kind of masked in.
Roy, explain ASMR.
ASMR is just it's an effect that has it's a response to certain types of sounds like tapping, or some people like chewing, but it generates a certain type of nervous response that tends to help you relax. So it's a lot of different types of noises, but they tend to be more like background noises, if you will.
Okay, and it's ASMR stands for.
I'm gonna
Sorry,
I
stumped you. Okay,
but it's meridian responses there. Yeah, I'll get you back. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah. So, and then really, what makes this interesting is the possibility of personalizing the stimulation that we use. You guys probably know this, but everybody's brain activity is different, and to the point that is as unique to you as your own fingerprint. In fact, we're able to just by taking a snippet of an EEG session, identify to whom that data belongs. So our goal is to really get good at understanding every person's individual brainwave footprint, and that would allow us to really personalize the type of stimulus that we are providing people. And in our experience, you know, you'll be surprised about the type of music that people would like to listen to when they focus. Some like to listen to nice Mozart, and some people like to listen to heavy metal. And so being able to identify what makes somebody perform better with what stimulus is one of our key targets, key goals. This just shows a little bit the different components of our platform. I think the key thing is a bit of an eyesore of a chart, but two key takeaways from this is one is the closed loop nature of this. All of it really relying on the biometric that's coming in from the user. We're capturing that data. We're processing. There's a lot of complexity in that we're getting better at every day. And then based on the real-time analysis, we quote unquote prescribe, although that's not really the correct word, the type of stimulus that we're going to inject, and then we close the loop with the sound. The other takeaway from this slide is that even though this whole structure is based around this piece of hardware, we can easily swap that out for a different form factor. So it could be earbuds, any type of hardware that would have a biometric that will help us understand where the user is a potential candidate to fit into our stack. As far as this is the obligatory TAM slide. This is a hard thing to land actually, because consumer neurotech is a pretty nascent, I would say, technology. And so there are not a lot of, while there are some cases of successful products, consumer neurotech as a market is hard to define. So we look at different proxies. Clearly, the mental wellness market is huge, and there's a lot of different businesses that go into it, like meditation apps or yoga, that kind of stuff. And there's an emerging category, the smart headphones that are also biometric driven, and the traditional neurofeedback market. And so we look at these as proxies. I think what's most interesting is, especially since COVID, I think worldwide we've become a lot more aware of the importance of proactive mental health. And we are seeing a huge increase in demand for these types of solutions. As far as our positioning in the market, we feel that we're very well positioned for a number of reasons. I'll highlight three. The first one is the form factor. I think when it comes to consumer, it's really easy to underestimate the type of friction that you will get if your form factor attracts unwanted attention.
Right, would you be opposed to us passing it around?
No.
Sure. Yeah, I want everyone to take a look at these I think are unique contacts. So I'm just gonna have you all pass that around. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. So we the form factor we think is critical, and there are other form factors out there and that don't seem to get as much traction because of that. The second point is accessibility. If we want to go in a consumer market, we need to be affordable. And vis-a-vis other products in the market, we are by far the most affordable. We are competitively priced with high-end headphones, and they come with the special ability of the EEG tracking. And the last piece is that we haven't seen a lot of other companies focus on the closed loop adaptive sound strategy. And ultimately, I mean, all of this is kind of like table stakes to get to this point, because we realized that for us to be successful, beyond the technology that we're delivering, what's really important is to help people build healthy mental fitness habits. And that's where our experience in consumer software, in terms of influencing people's behavior and trying to get people to habituate in the use of this is going to be very critical. Right now, we're seeing users on average using our app for about an hour and a half per week. And so that's the number that we really want to try to drive up. Then bringing it to a close. As far as the business model, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we'll make money selling the hardware. And but where it gets interesting is really in just the sheer number of options from a protocol and content perspective that are out there. So we will have a subscription offering that will give people access to more specialized solutions, and that will hopefully allow us to open up the platform to all kinds of to people in the room who might be interested in accessing a consumer base without having to build your own hardware. So hopefully we'll be able to open up to third parties. And we're getting a lot of inbound interest from different B2B channels that we didn't have in our map, but we're doing a pilot with a luxury hotel chain. There's a lot of wellness spas and practitioners that are very interested in this type of technology as it complements what they're doing. And lastly, services. We're very community oriented because of our consumer software background. So we invest a lot of time and attention on our users and try to understand what they need. So we see eventually an opportunity to offer services that have nothing to do with the actual hardware. And as far as our traction, I would say it's safe to say that we're exiting the product market fit phase. We've been selling these products in the market for the better part of this year. This numbers are a little outdated, but over 1,000 active users. I mentioned an hour and a half of usage per week, and we're quickly accumulating a lot of data, a lot of EEG data that we think that eventually will become an asset that will allow us to, say, discover patterns. And what we wanted to make sure is that we're able to sell this, explain this to consumers, have satisfied consumers, and then do it at a cost of acquisition that could be sustainable. And so we checked that. And our next big milestone is going to be the subscription service that I mentioned. So we'll be working on that, probably launching at Q1 of next year, and then we'll be probably fundraising. So that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Roy.
Thank you.
So I want to, I think we're still passing the headset around. I want to disclose the fact that Roy was kind enough to send me a unit to play with, and I just wanted to, give a little bit of feedback from an initial. What I find really interesting about this product, which you really didn't spend a lot of time talking about, maybe because you're modest. What's unique to me is, and there are other consumer EEG headsets out there. Many of you may have seen the Neurotech press release that got a lot of pickup. But what's unique here is this is a system that is able to categorize a mental state. Now, look, you can debate, just how precise it is, but the good news is you don't have to be. He's not making a medical claim. This is not a medical device, and I think Roy is smart enough to realize that that's a road you don't need to go down. But basically, the way it works is by looking at power distribution. So at any given moment, or maybe not moment, but epoch, few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the device can tell you the breakdown of alpha, beta, gamma, delta on a percentage basis. And you may or may not know what that means. You don't have to, right? Let the the third party community, make a determination that, oh, this combination of alpha plus beta at these levels corresponds to this particular mental state. I'm sleepy, I'm drowsy, I'm hungry, I'm horny, whatever. And then by using binaural beat, but it doesn't have to be binaural beat, enables, at least in theory, enables the user to transform their mental state from one state to another. So the key here will be the community, right? Making sense out of what are those mental states? How do you define them? And then how do we move from one state to another? And whether you believe in binaural beat technology or not, and there have been studies that have been very positive, there have been studies that have been very negative, but there's other means of producing changes in the EEG spectrum. Amy, has a device that uses vibrational energy, right? And maybe there's a way using vibration, or maybe just by using visual stimuli, right? Looking at a pattern, you're able to produce a mental state. We all know about what Cognito has been able to do with Alzheimer's patients using 40 hertz light stimulation in an AR headset. So the opportunities here seem to me are just tremendous. And again, what's unique about this device that I haven't seen with the other consumer devices is that you're able to make an assessment of mental state based on the percentage of or the relative power distribution in each of these bands, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and in theory at least, able to move from one mental state to another. So that's what we're going to actually publish a review, but that's our initial impression. Anyway, I've been blabbing. We've got time for maybe one or two questions.
So my question is very basic. So we have the meditation apps, right? Which I always give up because I can't stand the voice of the instructor.
Mhm.
So what you're offering is the same, but through music. This is my first question. The second is, through the EEG, do you tailor the content like, oh, today in the morning I fought with my husband, and therefore, like, I need a different type of module versus like in the evening and so on. So is there like a loop, like with the content you provide, and is this through your subscription, or can you elaborate a bit?
Yeah, for sure. So when you go into the app today, you'll see you'll have a choice of different types of mind states. So calm, focus, creative flow, wind down, and sleep are kind of the modes. And so each one of those will have a selection of tracks. All of those are in a loop. And so the musical composition doesn't change. It's just looped, and it's made to be pleasant but not distracting. And then the active element are the stimuli, the binaural beats, etc., that we are changing the frequencies based on the information that you're getting.
It doesn't measure, just like doesn't measure activity.
It measures the activity, and based on that information
okay.
and changes in that information is that we're changing the stimulus. And then it's not it's not exactly like a meditation app, but it does have a similar effect in terms of in that case, if you want to focus. I mean, people use meditation to focus or relax. We do support both those.
I just have a signal processing question, I guess. So how do you deal with the fact that some of the sounds that you generate, some of the binaural beats, etc., might interfere with the actual electrodes that you're using, considering the fact that you're only using like 2 channels, for example? So could the bass like bias the results in some way? And have you looked into that?
I mean, that's a great question, and it is more for my technical team. But we haven't seen any interference from the actual binaural beat. Yeah, but it's something that we would need to explore deeper.
Okay, well, we're out of time, but Roy, thanks very much.
Thank
That was
you.
a great presentation.
Appreciate it.